All right, guys, this is Mark Walton from GameSpot here. I'm here with Al Bickham from Creative Assembly. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. So you're here to show us Total War Attila, which is a brand new, super shiny version of Total War.
Yeah, so this is effectively the follow-up to Rome 2. So it's a new game, it's a standalone game, and it's set in 395 AD, really on the brink of the Dark Ages. It's a time of great turmoil in Europe, in fact, across the globe. As climate's changing, it's getting colder, populations are migrating. The Roman Empire, which has swelled into this giant, sort of bloated, massive power, split into two because it's impossible to administrate from a single point. So there's like two capital cities, one in the east, one in the west, two empires effectively, and they've become weak. There's not enough, military force there to defend what they've got. And against this backdrop of climate change and population migration, you've got this great new power rising in the east. You've got Attila the Hun and his hordes of Huns who are going to sweep across the map in a kind of relentless assault. So it's almost, playing with certain factions, it's almost a survival strategy game. You kind of have to figure out what you can lose before you can fight from a position of fair experience.
Well, no, I mean, I know we haven't got it here, but earlier on you showed us the sort of a placeholder for the intro video, which is going to have Attila the Hun in it, which he's quite badass. I mean, what was the sort of reason for going for this period of history then for you guys?
Well, it fits the brief for a great Total War game effectively. It's a period of flux when change is the change of the norm. You've got the Goths and the Visigoths and the barbarians. These mobile, aggressive tribes who are looking to take chunks out of Rome. You've got great empires rising in the east. You've got it's a time when the geopolitical map of Europe changed vastly, and it really, this period, the Dark Ages, the start of the Dark Ages, it informed human civilization, human development for the next 1,000 years. So it's kind of perfect. It fits all our criteria for almost a great Total War game. What we're doing here, James, my colleague James here is playing like a typical battle from Attila, and this is the city of Londinium. So this is London at the dawn of the Dark Ages. He's defending it as a Western Roman Empire army against a marauding horde of Saxon warriors who are going to come and swing their axes and do as much damage as they can. So what James is doing right now is he's flying around into battle maps. We've got these kind of baked-in barricades, and you can see him playing around with them there. So you can set up a barricade, you can select a unit and place them on that barricade. So you can, use these as defensive points or, or choke points or, ways to funnel the enemy kind of around the map. So that's one of the nice little features we have in battle now. So he's just going through deployment now, setting up his troops, and hopefully is going to be able to defend against the coming onslaught. So
you mean you guys have made a lot of tweaks in this game, because I know
sure, yeah.
I mean you've had a lot of feedback from players about Total War Rome 2, and there were some things that people were a little upset that were taken out, etc. But you bring some of them back with this game, right?
Yeah, for sure. The main one really to talk about, I suppose, is family trees. So in the campaign side of the game, one of our big focuses, we're bringing lots of interesting new stuff to the party, and we'll talk about that in due course, I guess. But one of our big focuses is improving and polishing and optimizing those kind of systems and the way that you navigate those systems. Literally in the UI. To be the kind of things that Total War players really want. And as you say, we've had a lot of feedback which we listen to. So, family trees is a great example of that. We've got a new politics system in the game, which is kind of manipulated through the family tree. So you have all your main family characters, and you have your all the different characters who appear in your empire. And it's important to note that the family tree isn't just it's not just a kind of graphical representation. It's not just a pretty way of looking at all the generals in your campaign. You've got a bunch of different characters who can be assigned as governors of various provinces. So, as you advance their political careers and they gain new skills and they kind of level up, they'll bring the benefits of all those skills to the province they're actually placed as governor of. And if you fight a battle in that city and there's no army to protect it, you'll still get your garrison force, but that senator or that politician or that tribal chief guy
is going to be the garrison general. So when you actually fight the battle, you'll see him on the battlefield as well. So, you know, we're really trying to intertwine characters into the game and, you know, bring back that, you know, ways of, as well of kind of visually navigating the progress in your game. So, you know, with generals, skill trees, and army legacy trees, you know, we've brought trees back. You know, we've done away with the kind of stacking card system of Rome 2.
Yeah.
And we've brought back a more, you know, trees just give you, skill trees just give you a way of you know, plotting the progression of your character as he gains experience in a much neater way and a much more kind of predictive way as well. So, you know, trees are great. We love trees. Trees are back.
So, I mean, tell us a little bit about what's happening here on screen right now.
Right. So the Saxons are, as you can see, tearing into the city at the moment, and James is attempting to harry them in the rear, if I can say that, with what looks like your general. Is that? Oh no, it's just get over this. So yeah, so James is fighting. You know, he's fighting these guys from the front, but he's trying to induce morale shocks by striking them in the rear as well. And now this whole battle map is a representation of one of the new features of Attila, which is in siege battles. Now, on the campaign map, obviously you can enter a siege, right? So you can take an army and you can go and siege a city. You know, you can attempt to starve them out, damage them, all that kind of stuff. But in Attila, that will actually have physical ramifications in the battle that you eventually fight at the end of that siege as well. So if you don't siege, if you just go in and attack a city, it'll be pristine, it will have all its walls, you know, it won't be damaged, it'll be a city, a fresh city, much easier to defend, you know, much less damage. You know, if you've been sieging for a little while, we have what we call siege escalation, and there's 3 levels. There's a, you know, undamaged city, an unsieged city. There's siege escalation level 1, which is, you know, that city's starting to become damaged. You know, it's going to be less defensible. Holes may start appearing. You know, and it's siege escalation 2, which is the highest level. You know, and that's the battle map we're seeing here. The city's close to ruin. You know, it's been starved out for 6 months, 8 months. You know, you can see buildings are on fire, and that's another new feature of battles in Attila, is that we have this dynamic fire system. So as the burning projectiles start raining down, buildings can catch light, and that fire can travel between buildings and can actually burn down the barricades that you guys are standing on as well. So, you know, fire is a destructive, you know, tangible destructive force in battles, and you know that has ramifications in the battle because, you know, not only is it, you know, destroying your barricades, but it's also harming the morale of the defenders in that city as well. So the more it burns, you know, the worse, the more worried the guys are going to be that they're defending this burning hulk. It's going to scare them. They're going to lose morale because of that. But it also damages the city. So, you know, as an attacker, you might not want to be throwing too many burning projectiles around, because if you're looking to hold on to that city, then you know, it's going to be damaged. Like its production and recruitment and resourcing, you know, abilities, its income abilities are all going to be damaged by, you know, throwing fireballs around, burning the city to the ground in a battle. Then when you finally take that city, you know, you're going to have to do a lot of fixing, you know, a lot of repair work afterwards to get that city back up to speed. So,
would you say, I mean, because of the fact that this is sort of the Attila the Hun sort of period, I mean, would you say that this sort of lends itself to a more aggressive style of play than previous sort of Rome games?
Well, it depends entirely on which faction you play as, because you know, as I mentioned, there's, you know, Rome is still on paper at least, you know, the dominant power in Europe, but, you know, possibly not for long. You know, you've got to worry about Attila sweeping in from the steppes, you know, from the grasslands of the east, you know, bringing his millions of warriors with him. You know, they're going to be fighting a campaign of relentless onslaught and destruction. You know, if you're playing as the Western Roman Empire, you've got that coming at you, but you've also got everybody else coming at you as well. You know, you are the main target in Central Europe, right? Everybody wants a piece of you. So, as you know, as the Romans, you know, as playing as, say, the Western Roman Empire, I mean, you're holding so much, you know, you're holding so much territory, and your armies are stretched so thin. To begin with, you're going to be effectively fighting a kind of, you know, performing a fighting withdrawal across the campaign map. It's going to be tough. It's going to be, you know, what we're calling, you know, you can play as the Western Roman Emperor or the Eastern Roman Empire, but particularly for the Western Roman Empire, who are so badly under fire at this point in history, we're calling it our first kind of legendary start position, you know, because it's tough, it's big. You start with a lot of stuff and it's hard to hold. And, it's designed as a really tough challenge for veteran Total War players. That's that really reflects a lot of what we're trying to do with the game. Is get back to our roots and create a game that really Total War players are going to love. It has the kind of features that they love in it. So playing as Eastern Roman Empire is just going to be really hard. But you can play as other factions. You can play as more aggressive expansionary factions like the Saxons, for example. They're going to want to just get out and start conquering, from the word go, and you've got this big, meaty, juicy target in front of you that you're going to start pecking holes in, right? So there are, more or less aggressive factions of players, yeah.
I mean, I know you touched on this a little briefly, but I mean, there's a lot of graphical tweaks that you've made.
Oh, sure, yeah.
In this game. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about them? I know that you were saying about the lighting engine and stuff, and and the ability to zoom out more on the map.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we've campaign map particularly. We've done a lot of work with our normal maps. So we've actually done away with VTEX as well, and what this has enabled us to achieve is a much higher level of fidelity in the campaign map graphics, and added a lot of vegetation types as well. So you're just going to see a lot of much richer detail and much higher fidelity across the map in all the different textures on the map, and between cities and terrain and foliage. And we've also introduced a load of new lighting volumes around the map to reflect different climate types. There's a rich material quality to the lighting. We've got a new lighting model on the campaign map, and you just get a greater sense of depth and immersion and atmosphere when you're flying around the campaign map. And, it feels different in different parts of the world, more than we've done in a game before. New water shaders, which reflect light in a different way, and they just look very rich and realistic. And the aim with all this as well is to optimise, improve frame rates while we're doing it. So we're getting higher frame rates than previous games on the campaign map.
Right, so I mean, with all these graphic improvements, people aren't going to suddenly need like a much beefier PC or a much beefier graphics card or something.
I mean, optimization is one of our watchwords here. So it's about not people not having to go out and buy a new graphics card because there's a new Total War game coming.
Yeah.
If you ran Rome, you'll run Attila and probably better. So
right, fantastic. So where are we in this battle right now?
It looks like James is quite heavily engaged in the city here. We've got some mass battles going on here, right in the centre of town. So it looks like you're trying to hold the centre here, and as you can see, a lot of the city's destroyed. You're seeing lots of pools of smoke, which is really getting across this kind of apocalyptic feel. That's the vision we're going for. Is the end of days. The kind of the divine apocalypse. All the seven seals breaking and the four horsemen riding forth. This is the divine apocalypse, and that's really the vision we're looking for on in both battle and on the campaign map as well. So James is microing his way to what looks like a defeat at this point, because he's only got a couple of units left. But it's very valiant, and he's managing to hold off a lot of very angry Saxon swordsmen on the hill here.
Well, one of the things that you were talking about in this game is that if you didn't want to go into this battle, if you on the campaign map you see that you are horribly outnumbered, you can go for the nuclear option.
Yes, the nuclear option indeed. Yeah. So Raise is a new mechanic on the campaign map where. If you're going to lose a city, you can, before the enemy takes it, we've lost, unfortunately. And yeah, basically you can raise the city to the ground, wipe it off the campaign map, and it just means there's nothing there for the enemy to capture. It literally wipes it from the face of the earth. And an army can go in and reinvest that area and build a new city from scratch, but it's a colossal drain on resources and time. But it means you can fight a scorched earth, retreat across the campaign map, or indeed scorched earth. Offense across the campaign map and just burn cities as you go and damage the resources that the resource output of those regions as well, hurt the fertility of those regions. So it's a big change. It's a big change in the way that you view cities on the campaign map. Because suddenly they're more vulnerable than ever before. If an enemy captures them, yeah, okay, they could capture them, but they might capture them and then choose to raise them to the ground and, you know, walk on. So you won't be able to just go and recapture that when you're a bit stronger and take it back off them, you know. It might not be there anymore, so, you know, really...
An extra level strategy there that you could consider, isn't it?
Exactly,
Really cool.
yeah. So it makes gameplay very interesting, yeah. It switches things up a bit, I think.
All right, great stuff. Well, that's it for our demo of Total War Attila, but if you want more on the game, please be sure to check out GameSpot.com, and thanks for joining me out.
Thank you very much.